Oh, hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're making a manipulation header. This is a semi-tutorial, not really, so follow along, enjoy, and maybe you'll learn something new. Alrighty guys, first step, open up Photoshop, create a new document, make it 3000 by 1000 with 300 resolution, and start that bitch up. After you put up your document, you guys need to grab your logo that you're going to be working with. Today I'm just working with Error's logo, and our first step is going to be making this 3D. So guys, now that we have brought in our logo, we're going to rasterize the logo, and then we're going to grab out the lasso tool, and then from here we're just going to draw some little shapes that look like cut marks in the logo, and then later on we're going to turn this into a 3D extrusion. So guys, now that you have created some little shapes in your logo, what you guys are going to want to do is duplicate using Ctrl J on your logo, and then what you're going to do is you're going to, on the bottom layer, the one beneath the top layer, you're going to create a 3D extrusion on that just like this. And then once you have done that, obviously your logo will start extruding. So you're just going to bring the extrusion down a little bit so it's about the exact same length as mine, and you're going to make sure that the cast shadows is off. Now what you guys need to do is click on your 3D render and begin rendering. The render's done. Alrighty guys, so now next step is to rasterize the 3D render you guys just made, and now it is time to find some images. Alright guys, so we found our first image off Google actually, and we're just going to use that as our foreground to sort of start or create the scene that we're going to be using for this design. Alright, so now that I've penciled that out, I'm just going to keep searching on Google and seeing what other images I can find to create a sort of scene. So we're just going to go through Google and have a bit of a look around to see what we find. Oh, and I should probably pencil this out as well, so let's quickly do that. So we've gone through Google and we found a fair few images that I would like to use, and yes, these are all found off Google. Like I tell pretty much everyone who asks me where I get my images, it is literally just Google pretty much 90% of the time. I don't have some hidden keyword apart from I guess 4K, but a lot of you guys message me saying where do you find these images, and it's literally just Google. If you have a good eye for images, then that's pretty much all you need. There's no secret hidden word. Alrighty guys, so with the images I found off Google, I'm going to create a sort of mountain backdrop that's going to be in the background. So I'm just going to quickly pencil out these mountain ranges and sort of try and connect them with the other mountains that I've got at the moment. So now we're going to grab out the eraser and we're just going to lightly erase with a zero hardness eraser just to mush the mountains together almost, because they've got a pretty similar texture, so they should mesh together pretty well. And also we might as well quickly pen tool this mountain just because we might need to use something putting behind it later. Alright, now the foreground looks pretty out of place considering it's super saturated and all the other stuff is pretty blue and less saturated and less vibrant. So we're going to go into camera raw filter and just adjust it with the sliders and hopefully get it to look like the rest of the scene. Alrighty, moving on. So now we're going to create a little bit more of an atmosphere using some smoke and fog to just give it a little bit more character and make it look like we're up in the mountains. It's always pretty foggy and smoky up there, so we're just going to add some smokes in between our background and foreground to sort of mesh it together a little bit nicer. Oh, and just in case you guys didn't realize, I'm using a lot of brushes right now that you guys might not have, so I will leave the brush pack in the description so that you guys can download it. It has tons of good things like it's got like leaf brushes, cloud brushes, ground smoke, just general like fog, all those sorts of things, trees, everything that you would need just to, especially for manipulation. It is extremely helpful, and I highly recommend you guys download these. Alright, so quickly we're just going to create a more of a direct sunlight in the top right corner. Just going to give it a quick little boost, I guess you would say, because that's where the light's already coming from. But we're going to quickly add an extra brush stroke there, and now what we're going to do is focus on texturing our logo. So just like before, guys, we're going to go onto Google and literally just search up stone textures and find some that we reckon could work well with the scene that we've got. Alrighty, so we've picked our stone texture, and first thing we are going to do is we're going to clip this onto the 2D part of the logo. Now remember how we made two separate files earlier, one for the 3D and one for the 2D, so we're going to clip that to both. So we're going to duplicate the texture that we just made with Ctrl-J. I'm going to clip that using Alt holding on the top and clipping it to both 2D and 3D, and when we clip it to our 3D layer, set it to a multiply. Now I'm just going to quickly create a shadow for the logo to make sure everything's looking alright. Alright, so now we've created the basic shape. We're going to duplicate the 2D layer, and then we're going to flip it upside down, and then using Control and then hold Z on the moving of the 2D layer, you can stretch it out and sort of pull it in the direction that the light would be pushing the shadow. So I've decided to get rid of the left side of that little bush that was sort of covering the left side of the design. I just thought it was kind of weird, so I got rid of it, and now we're going to start on the highlights and shadows and just general blending of the actual logo. When doing the lighting for this, it is actually not as hard as it looks. You pretty much just have to keep all the shadows dropping down to the left and make sure that the light is always hitting off to the right, because that is obviously where the big bright sunlight is coming from. So you just have to keep everything in mind when doing lighting with that one direction. What I actually use for my lighting is basically just a black brush that I constantly clip new layers onto and use different opacities. So like for the shadows, I just use a black zero hardness brush and constantly make new layers and add new bits of lighting and shadowing, everything like that. But I pretty much will only use brushes on different blending modes. Alright, so the logo's looking pretty nice now. I think we're pretty much almost done with everything. So now what we're going to do is just some final touches. We're going to grab a lens flare from Google, and then we're just going to put that in there to sort of give it a bit more of a realistic camera feel with the lens flare from the sun and everything like that. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go with the polygonal lasso tool yet again, and I'm just going to grab small parts of the logo and I'm going to copy them and make them into little rock shards and make them look like the rock that's actually being cracked through like the logo where we made the marks earlier is actually having rocks flying off it, just to give it that bit more of a cinematic look. Looking good. Alright, so now what we're going to do is create the logo into more of a jagged rock sort of look. So all we're going to do is go with the lasso tool, and we're just going to go over our logo and delete small parts of the logo. Just draw small jagged tips and rough edges just to make it look like more of a stone, I guess, because stones are never this round and smooth, so you want to make it look a little bit more jagged and rough. Alright, so the design is almost done. All we're going to be doing now is using a little bit of Gaussian blur to our background and foreground to create a little bit more of perspective for the design to make it really hone in on the logo. So all we're going to do is Gaussian blur the background with all the mountains, and then we're going to very, very lightly Gaussian blur the actual like sandy ground that the logo is sitting on, and then we're going to leave a little bit of area just completely in focus near the logo to obviously create a focal point. And to pretty much finish off the design, all I'm going to be doing is adding some basic fog again, a little bit more in the foreground and some snow falling, and that is pretty much it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, and please leave a comment if you guys want to see more of this or other videos. I'm down for any suggestions. I can pretty much, I reckon, cover any topic that you guys are wanting. So please, please, please leave a comment down. It'll help me out a lot for video ideas and just generally what you guys want to see. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. It's been your boy Jordan, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace, I'm out.